This is Always Outnumbered, Always Outgunned, chapter Equal Opportunity, section 2. There was a large electric clock above the office. The sweep, or second hand, reared back and then battered up against each second, counting every one like a drummer beating out time on a slave galley. Socrates could see the young assistant manager through the window under the clock. He was saying something to an older white woman sitting there. The woman looked down at Socrates and then swiveled or turned in her chair to a file cabinet. She took out a piece of paper and held it while lecturing Anton. He reached for the paper a couple of times, but the woman kept it away from him and continued talking. Finally, she said something and Cryer nodded. He took the paper from her and left the office, coming down the external stairs at a fast clip, meaning he walked out the stairs quickly. Walking past the checkers, he managed not to look at Socrates before he was standing there in front of him. "Here," he said, handing the single-sheet application form to Socrates. Cryer never stopped moving. As soon as Socrates had the form between his fingers, the younger man was walking away. Socrates touched the passing elbow and asked, "Do you have a pencil?" "What? I need a pencil to fill out this form." You can just send it in." "I didn't come all this way for a piece of paper, man. I came to apply for a job." Anton Cryer stormed over to one of the checkers, demanded her pencil, and then rushed back to Socrates. "Here," he said. Socrates answered, "Thank you." But the assistant manager was already on his way back to his elevated office. Half an hour later, Socrates was standing at the foot of the stairs, leading up to Anton and his boss. He stood there waiting for one of them to come down. They could see him through the window. They knew he was there. So Socrates waited, holding the application in one hand and the borrowed pencil in the other. After 20 minutes, he was wondering if a brick could break the wall of windows at the front of the store. After 30 minutes, he decided that it might take a shotgun blast. 39 minutes had gone by when the woman, who had bottled red hair, came down to meet him. Anton Cryer shadowed her. To shadow someone means to come with them. Socrates saw the anger in the boy's face. "Yes? Can I help you?" Haley Grimes asked. She had a jailhouse smile, insincere and crooked. Insincere means not sincere or not honest. Crooked means that it isn't straight. "I wanted to ask a couple of things about my application." "All the information is right there at the top of the sheet." "But I had some questions." "We're very busy, sir." Miss Grimes broadened her smile to show that she had a heart, even for the aged and confused. "What do you need to know?" "It asks here if I have a car or a regular ride to work." "Yes," beamed Miss Grimes. To beam at someone means to smile at them. "Yes," smiled Miss Grimes. "What is it exactly that you don't understand?" "I understand what it says, but I just don't understand what it means." The look of confusion came into Haley Grimes' face. Socrates welcomed a real emotion. He answered her unasked question. "What I mean is that I don't have a car or a ride, but I can take a bus to work." The store manager took his application form and fingered the address. "Where is this street?" she asked. "Down in Watts." "That's pretty far to go by bus, isn't it? There are stores closer than this one, you know." "But I could get here." Socrates noticed that his head wanted to move as if to the rhythm of a song. And then he heard it, "Baby Love," by Diana Ross and the Supremes. It was being played softly over the loudspeaker. "I could get here." "Well," Miss Grimes seemed to brighten, "we'll send this in to the main office, and, if it's clear with them, we'll put it in our files. When there's an opening, we'll give you a call." "A what?" "A call. We'll call you if you're qualified and if a job opens up." Oh, well, we got to figure something else than that out. You see, I don't have a phone. Oh, well then, Miss Grimes held up her hands in a gesture of helplessness. I don't see that there's anything we can do. The main office demands a phone number. That's how they check on your address. They call. How do they know that they have my address just because someone, because of, hold on a second. How do they know that they have my address because they call me on the phone? Wouldn't it be better if they wrote to me? I'm very busy, sir. I've told you that we need a phone number to process this application. Haley Grimes held out the form toward Socrates. Without that, there's really isn't anything I can do. Socrates kept his big hands down. He didn't want to take the application back, partly because he didn't want to break the pudgy white woman's fingers. Pudgy means fat. Do me a favor and send it in, he said. I told you. Just send it in, okay? Just send it in. I'll be back to find out what they said. You don't. Just send it in. There was violence in his last request. Haley Grimes pulled the application away from his face and said, all right, but it won't make any difference. Section 3. Socrates had to transfer on 3 buses to get back to his apartment, and he was especially tired that day. Talking to Cryer and Grimes had worn him out. He boiled potatoes and eggs in a saucepan on a single hot plate, and then cut them together in a pot with 2 knives, adding mustard and sweet pickle relish. After the meal, he had 2 shots of whiskey and 1 Camel cigarette. He was asleep by 9 o'clock. His dream blared until dawn. It means he dreamt until dawn. It was a realistic sort of dream. No magic, no impossible wish. It was just Socrates in a 9-foot cell with a flickering fluorescent light. A fluorescent light is like the type of light we would have in a school building, and flicker means that it goes on and off, on and off, on and off. So we have Socrates in a 9-foot cell with a flickering light from the walkway, keeping him from sleeping and reading, giving him a headache, hurting his eyes. Mr. Bennet, the sleeping Socrates called out from his broad sofa. He shouted so loudly that a mouse in the kitchen jumped up and out of the potato pan, pinging his tail against the thin tin as he went. Socrates heard the sound in his sleep. So this is Socrates talking in his sleep, and he scares a mouse that was in his kitchen. Socrates heard the sound in his sleep. He turned, but then slipped back into the flickering, painful dream. What do you want? The guard asked. He was big and black and meaner than anyone Socrates had ever known. I can't read. I can't sleep. That light has been like that for 3 days now. Put the pillow on your head, the big guard said. I can't breathe like that, Socrates answered sensibly. Then don't, Mr. Bennet replied. As the guard walked away, Socrates knew, for the first time, really, why they kept him in that jail. He would have killed Bennet if he could have right then, put his fingers around his fat neck, and squeezed until the veins swelled and the cartilage popped and snapped. He was so mad that he balled his fists in his sleep 25 years after the fact. He was a sleeping man wishing that he could sleep. And he was mad, killing mad. He couldn't rest because of the crackling, buzzing light, and the more it shone, the angrier he became. And the angrier he got, the more scared he was, scared that he'd kill Bennet the first chance he got. The anger built for days in that dream. The sound of grinding teeth could be heard throughout Socrates' 2 rooms. This is saying when you get angry, sometimes when you're sleeping, you clench your jaw together and grind your teeth, and it makes a sound. Finally, when he couldn't stand it anymore, he took his rubber squeeze ball in his left hand and slipped his right hand through the bars. He passed the ball through to his right hand and gauged its weight in the basket of his fingers. To gauge the weight of something is to guess at how heavy something is. He blinked back at the angry light, felt the weight of his hard rubber ball. The violent jerk started from his belly button, traveled up through his chest and shoulder, and down until his fingers tensed like steel. The ball flew in a straight line that shattered the light, broke it into blackness. And in the jet night he heard Bennett say, "That's the last light you get from the state of Indiana." Socrates woke up in the morning knowing that he had cried. He could feel the strain in the muscles of his throat. He got out of bed thinking about Anton Cryer and Haley Grimes. Section 4. "You what?" asked Stony Weil. He'd run into Socrates getting off a bus on Central and offered to buy his friend a beer. They went to Moody's Bar on 109th Street. "I've been down there every day for 5 days, and every day I go in there, I ask them if they got my okay from the head office yet. That's an okay for him to have a job. And what do they say about that? Well, the first day that boy, that Anton Cryer, just said no. So I left. The next day he told me that I had to leave, but I said that I wanted to talk to his boss. She came down and told me that she had already said how I can't work there if I don't have a phone." "Yeah?" asked Stony Weil. "Then what did you do?" "I told them that they should call downtown and get some kind of answer for me because I was going to come back every day until I get some kind of answer." There was a finality in Socrates' voice that opened Stony's eyes wide. "You don't want to do something dumb now, Socko," he said. "And what would that be?" "They could get you in all kind of trouble, arrest you for trespassing if you keep it up." "Maybe they could. Cops come in here and blow my head off too. But do you think I should kiss up to them?" "But that's different. You've got to stand up for your pride, your manhood. But I don't see it with this supermarket thing." "Well," Socrates said, "on Thursday Miss Grimes told me that the office had faxed her to say that I wasn't qualified for the position. She said that she had called the cops and said that I'd been down there harassing them. She said that they said that if I ever came over there again, that they would come arrest me. Arrest me, just for trying to get my rights." "That was the 4th day?" Stoney asked to make sure that he was counting right. "Uh-huh. That was day number 4. I asked her, could I see the fax paper, but she said that she didn't have it, that she threw it out. You ever hear anything like that? White woman working for a white corporation throwing out paperwork?" Stoney was once a shipbuilder, but now worked on a fishing day boat out of San Pedro. He'd been in trouble before, but never in jail. He'd never thought about the thousands of papers he'd signed over his life, never wondered where they went. "Why wouldn't they throw them away?" Stoney asked. "Because they keep every scrap of paper they got just as long as it will make their case in court, just as long as they will be protected in court." Stoney nodded. Maybe he understood. "So I called Bounty's head office," Socrates said, "over in Torrance." "You're lying." "And why not? I applied for that job, Stoney. I should get my hearing with them." "What did they say?" "That they'd never heard of me." "You are lying," Stoney said again. "Grimes and Cryer are the liars. And you know, I went down there today to tell them so. I was up in Anton's face when he told me that Miss Grimes was out. I told him that they lied, and that I had the right to get a job." "And what did he say?" "He was scared. He thought I might hit him. And I might have, too, except Miss Grimes comes on down. She was there. She said that she was on a lunch break. Said that she was going to call the cops on me. I called her a liar right to her face. I said that she was a liar and that I had a right to be submitted to the main office." Socrates jabbed his finger at Stoney as if he were the one holding the job hostage. "I told her that I'd be back on Monday and that I expected some kind of fair treatment." "Well, that sounds right," Stoney said. "It isn't up to her who could apply and who couldn't. She's got to be fair." "Yeah," Socrates answered. "She said that the cops would be waiting for me on Monday. Maybe Monday night. You could come and see me in jail."